Hello, good evening, and welcome. We are live. This is Paranormal Now Investigation Wales. I'm Jared Walters with my good esteemed friend and colleague, Mr. Richard Oliver. Richard, how are you?
I am good, but I am good. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we have gone live as an impromptu session this evening because we are we found something. Well, it's something that's kind of blowing up on the internet as we speak. Would you like to give a little bit of background information as to what you have discovered about it, my friend?
Well, basically, I'm always sort of like, looking for different things is coming up on social media and, and different things. And I saw a piece on the Daily Express, and my mate rang me today, good old Chris, and he said, "Have you seen what First Phase Moon are talking about?" Basically, NASA for 22 minutes filmed a UFO. And I was like, "Oh, I think I read something about that earlier." I said, I didn't know it was them that sort of like wrote the story, but it anyway. So I went and looked at it, and then I shared it with you, Jar, didn't I? And I said, I think we need to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty crazy. So yeah, this is what we're gonna show you on the channel.
Well, we are showing you as it speaks. So what you're seeing at the moment is the live feed. So the ISS space station, basically the International Space Station that orbits the Earth once every 90 minutes and is a construction of a space construction from projects from different countries. I'll give you a few facts about the International Space Station. So 65 miles per hour basically is sorry, I do apologize. It
No,
travels at 5 miles per second.
yeah,
So the International Space Station will circumvent the entire globe in 90 minutes. Um, the size of the ISS is around about 357 feet. I think so that's about 109 meters. That's basically how much space they've got to walk around. I think it's something like 37,000 cubic feet is the actual, or 32,000, sorry, cubic feet is the actual size of the space station. So if you go on to, I think they've got one on YouTube, but if they go onto the NASA's website and to, there's other YouTube channels, I know space.com and the Space Videos YouTube channel also covers this, but it's a live stream from two of the front cameras of the International Space Station that basically are there to cover the Earth and to give a view of what the International Space Station is seeing from Earth. Now, what the Express is saying about this is that this is a object, like you can see on your screen now. Can you see the object, Richard? Can you see what we're seeing on screen?
yes, I can see the object. They're describing it as a cylinder, but I'm going to tell you this now, right? As you're looking at it, that is the exact shape of the UFO that we talked about, that we spotted on the top of Power Station Hill, and we followed up to Lantris, and that is identical. When I said a reverse kite, if you look at the shape, you can see the point. Even though kind of looks like it's going backwards to the way I saw it going, because I saw the pointy part of the ship going forward. But that is near enough. The it's kind of uncanny. It's kind of a bit spooky. Obviously, when I saw it, it was a bit more illuminated because it had about 15 odd lights on it. But that is the shape. That is the shape of the craft I saw.
Well, as you can see, we've zoomed in. So what we've done is we've taken clips from this actual footage from the ISS. Now, basically, the ISS is synonymous with picking up UFO footage, and there are lots of different YouTubers that have captured this evidence. I've got this just from a sort of public. It wasn't actually a named YouTube channel. It was just a random one that came up on the search as I looked for it. But this video basically is the exact same one that is highlighted in the Express, and you can see that it's matching speed with the ISS. It's to me it looks like it's kind of matching a similar sort of speed. But as we go further into this video, We do zoom in on it a lot more because we want to give a little bit of analysis tonight as to what we think it could possibly be, and give you guys, maybe get you guys to give your opinions on what you think it might be as well. So let us know in the chat if you are watching. I know there's a few of you who have joined us. I can tell from the oligarchic back end of, not oligarchic, oracle back end of YouTube that I can see here in front of me. But like we're seeing on screen now, Richard. So you say this is a very similar sort of shape.
It's very, very similar. And if you look, as you can see the light, if you look at the sunlight hitting the space station, the front of the space station, and you look at the light hitting the object, I mean, it does correlate, right? So from the direction of the sun.
Yeah.
And you can see that it's kind of like this one edge of it, like a blade, basically. This one edge of it is illuminated, and the other edge of it is in darkness. And that was the kind of shape. I said it was like a pyramid shape on top and a smaller pyramid on bottom. And that is, from what I saw the back of this thing, it's kind of looking a very similar shape. Obviously, I didn't get to see the top of the craft when it flew overhead because it was, it was up in the sky. But it screams the shape I saw.
So, looking at this on screen now, you should get to the point where it's zoomed up. The other thing I noticed, it looks like as it's going through, it looks like it's dropping something. Now I don't know if that's the pixelation because we've zoomed in quite far on this, but I did notice there was like white light coming out of the back of it, and I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and he was talking about photon propulsion. And there has been a lot of research being done into photonic propulsion, but from what is in the public domain, or I've read about photon or light engines or light propulsion, it probably doesn't really match this design. But is there anything on Earth this could be, Rich?
Well, the one thing I did think about, and it's a very similar shape to the Black Knight satellite, and which was broke by Gary McKinnon a long time ago. I mean, this was back in the 90s, I believe. And he basically went inside the FBI. He was inside the FBI data files, pretending to be an agent. And one of the first images he ever found, and it was under UFO, and it was called the Black Knight satellite. And he released that in such a way they couldn't take it off the internet. And the story has become, super famous. And it was the way he leaked it. They couldn't take it down. He didn't get enough time to sort of release any other information, but it was one of the first things he ever found was the Black Knight satellite. And that's what it's got, that sort of, that it's a very similar shape to the images I've seen of the Black Knight satellite. But yeah, I think from what I'm looking at, the light that looks like it's coming out of it is kind of passing over the cloud cover with the pixelations, Jack.
Right, okay.
But it is incredible. The fact they zoomed in on it. They normally see NASA in these images when something pops on screen that shouldn't be there. They do normally cut the feed, but in this case, they seem to have zoomed in on it. But if you look at the shape, that is the shape of the craft I saw right there. Now it's a brilliant image. That is the shape of the craft I saw, without question. That is exactly what I saw. I said it looked like a reverse kite, and that is the shape I'm seeing there. It's something I'll never forget. But yeah, I mean, they zoomed in on it, which is, is a bit. I mean, if you look how it's staying in orbit, because I think, what is it, 17,500 miles per hour. Which is
they reckon about it's like 5 miles per second, basically.
Yeah, it is. That is some serious. I mean, it looks like it's just plodding along, doesn't it? But it's ballistic. This is going faster than bullets, and it's just there. And I don't know if this is real, if this is a genuine video, if this hasn't been faked or in any shape or form, and this is genuinely from NASA, then yeah, that is, this is irrefutable proof to me. If this is a genuine video from NASA and they zoomed in on it and they allowed it to be filmed for 22 minutes, then we are looking at life from another planet.
Well, the article was broken by the Daily Express, which does reference a YouTuber. The YouTube channel is called ET Database, which is kind of one of these, from what I can gather, and I apologise to Scott Waring if I have got this wrong, but from what I've looked at from the YouTube channel that the Daily Express looked at, and I didn't actually get the footage from him, like there's other sources of this footage on the internet. So it's not just his source that's been used. There are other sources as well. So I have seen there's not as many as I would like to see to verify it. But there are other sources, and you can tell with it's not his source because his source, he's put obviously his livery and his subscribe and branding on it then. Third Phase of the Moon covered this. Now, I loved Third Phase of the Moon's coverage they did of the Kilauea eruption, and it gave me as a viewer, great insight to what it's like to live near a volcano that's erupting. However, some of the stuff they've brought on the UFO front I found quite questionable. But I do like those guys. I like.
Yeah, me too.
I feel I enjoy listening to them. But I do find that it's like anything else. There's probably stuff on our channel that people are going to think the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
They're going to question that. They're going to question some of the things we've captured. That's the nature of this work.
No, what I mean is there's going to be people who question some of the stuff we captured and accept other things that we capture.
Yeah.
But I would like to have a more viable source. Now, the Express, you would think would be a bit more of a viable source, but the Express, basically tells us it's going to snow every other week. They're the ones mostly responsible for those "it's going to snow" articles before we have Storm Dennis that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting that there's not much official from NASA on this. There's no commentary from NASA on this, and they tend to have. If you watch Scott's original video, you can actually hear the sounds of mission control. You don't always hear those sounds. When I've checked the ISS space feeds just now before coming on air, I noticed sometimes they play just some classical music or something along those lines. But you can hear them say when they're zooming in, what is that? And I don't know. We can't identify what it is.
This is a problem with stuff like this, and sometimes it can be too good to be true. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, isn't it? It is, we probably could be genuinely looking at a UFO right now, and they've done this to show people that they're there. Because with all the cover and all the secrets and all the way that UFOs are seen, and they're not documented. There does seem to be a conspiracy of silence from kind of both sides, if that makes sense, from our own government and the ETs themselves. And they do sort of they kind of do things in secret and stuff. But this is incredible. I don't know. It's an amazing. It's just an amazing video. It's not overhammed. It's not, it's not to the point where you just go, oh my God, it's CGI. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very, very hard to tell if this is fake. To me, it looks real. But
the fact,
the thing with editing software and everything the way it is going today, you can be another. That YouTube video where the guy pretends to be Barack Obama, the comedian. And he uses his face to talk, and it's incredible. And you think how technology is growing with digital imagery.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to tell.
Well, we were watching I was watching one with a friend of mine the other day, and it was a ship that this guy had made out of I don't know if any of you guys would remember this, but the Frontier Elite, or the Elite Encounters series. So it's a PC game where you would go on a spaceship, and you could be a pirate, or you could just, you know, be a trader, or you could join different factions. And this was a game back in the 1990s. The one I played the most was Frontier Elite 2, and that was on the Amiga. And he had a mock-up of one of the ships that you could get from the Elite, and we couldn't work out. I think it was a blend of CGI and actual physical craftsmanship, and it was done so well, we couldn't, you know, he'd done it, that he was walking around this ship, man, and it was like, we couldn't work it out. We couldn't work it out whether it was CGI or whether it was actually real, because he had it was meticulously done. Now, what I find interesting about this footage is the lighting, and the way the lighting is actually, you know, the lighting is consistent with the way that, you know, the Earth is curving, the way that the way in which, and we're coming to the end part of this now. And this is the bit I don't get, because if we will see this coming up on your screen now, Richard, in a second, because Richard is on a bit of a delay from us, guys. But you've got the curvature. It comes to like a zoomed out, and you can see this object. So as this object has been traveling, it's also been climbing. So it's been gaining altitude, from what I can tell. Now, I'm no aviation expert. I am a layman when it comes to this stuff. I haven't got a clue. If someone wants to tell us in the comment section below why this is fake, then please do, because it helps us learn, and it helps us understand as to what this could be, and it helps us identify what to look for.
Well, the only thing from watching the video is that when this ship moves past the cloud cover, when it comes out of the bottom end of the ship, as the ship moves sort of forward, the cloud does deform and morph a little bit. When you said you described that light coming out of it, that's the only thing that's throwing me. I don't know if that's anything to do with the camera on the space station, or like just sort of zooming in, but that's the only thing that's throwing me, is that, like, when he passes past the clouds do just ever so slightly deform. And it's because there's been quite a few videos over the years that people have sent me and asked my opinion on. And there's the one, I think it's basically a van is coming down the road. There's a guy on like a cart, and he pulls into a cross section with lights, and a person runs up, grabs him, there's a flash of light, and he's on the other side of the road, and the van keeps going. And people were saying this is like a superhuman and everything, and nobody notices the time actually flicks.
Yeah.
And then it came out then that it was a promotion.
Yeah. Well, can you see it on screen now? You should be seeing on screen now the way So how is it doing that then? Is that the camera tilting from the ISS, or is it because the ISS is going in a slightly different direction? What's going on here?
Well, I think the camera is actually, it looks like to me like the camera is tracking the object. Right. So for that to be the case, there must be something for the camera to follow the object. To me, it would suggest that the object is in front of the camera, and they're trying to keep an eye on it. That's what it suggests to me, because the camera angle has moved away from sort of like the front of the space station and is moving up towards, the upper sort of stratosphere.
Well, if you look
it looks to me like it's tracking the object.
If you look at the way it is now, because it's changed shape, right? And I was talking about the light propulsion, and I've zoomed in on it here now, right? You'll see the zoom in a second. And Christy, thanks for your comment on the chat, my love. I will get to you in a second. But you can see it's actually changed shape as it's moving upwards, okay? Now, that could be the fact that we're just seeing a different viewing angle, right? But one of the things with the photon engines is the fact in order for the photons to actually work, they have to sort of like be generated by the rocket. Like the concept of a photon rocket is it has to be generated by the rocket and then have another chamber that generates it kind of both sides. So you would have to have like two chambers. as part of the engine. So
Yeah.
that I found quite interesting. As it's sort of turning, it looks like there's two separate kind of modules on there. Now, I don't know if that's because it's a different viewing angle, but it looks as if it has changed shape. You should be seeing that on your screen now, Richard.
Yeah, I am. I'm seeing it. Well, if you look at like things like Bob Lazar, right, and he talks about like the anti-gravity engines that he worked on, right?
Mm,
Propulsion, obviously, alien propulsion would be beyond our comprehension,
yeah,
right? But they use most of the ships he's described that he come in contact with used a sort of anti-gravity sort of device,
yeah,
which focus is the beams on a fixed point in space, and it sort of like pulls it instead of like actual coming out of the back. It pulls it along to that point in
yeah,
space. Now, if this thing had propulsion, in our scientific terms, it would have to be massive to carry that much fuel to get
yeah,
anywhere. You
absolutely.
know what I mean? Like our space, like if we went, the vehicle that will go to Mars in the future will be ginormous, but just for the fact of how much fuel it will have to carry.
Keep an eye on your screen now, Rich, because you'll see there's a red light coming from the bottom. There's
Yeah,
like almost like a red glow actually coming from the bottom of this now, and I don't know if that's the way the sun and obviously the atmosphere is kind of impacting on it, but we're about to reach the end of the video. Okay,
yeah,
there we do get what I've done at the end of this is I've played the whole video sped up for about another 5 minutes for us to take a further look at this and get
yeah,
a sense of the whole event. So this is going to be happening when it kicks over to the next screen now. This is going to be happening probably around about 4 times speed of how it was originally broadcast. But
right.
you can see around what I find really interesting now. I don't know whether that's the way the sun is, but again, it's kind of slightly changing shape. It's
Mm.
becoming more solid now. It's like it's lighting up like a ball of light. And
Mm.
you can see, I've slowed this right down here, and you can see there's light basically coming off it, and it's going right the way down the lens. So, whoever's done this, if this is a CGI or some sort of trickery or fakery, it's bloody good.
Yeah,
They've thought of some good things there, and whether if that is the case, then hats off to them. To be fair,
yeah,
I found it quite entertaining for if it is a hoax or a bit of hoaxery. And as you can see, the object now will is disappearing off screen,
yeah.
and you've got this green sort of hue coming from it. This green sort of like gas, like burning gas that's coming from it. And
Well, I would imagine that would be acceleration because this thing is obviously keeping up with it. To break Earth's orbit, you've got to be, looking at the upward of about 20,000 miles an hour. Well, the way this thing accelerates from the space station and, moves up, I mean, there's probably people out there that could do the maths on it, but it is accelerating at an incredible speed. Now that could just be acceleration,
mm,
because for the thing to like move off, because the space station isn't really in real world terms in kind of space.
yeah, it's kind of suborbital, isn't it?
Yeah, suborbital. So it's still it's still, you've got to think of gravity would still have an effect on any object trying to accelerate away.
Mm.
And it would create that sort of like what would look like a thrust, like a rocket. Well, so we come into the speeded up version now, are we?
Yeah, we're actually in the speeded up version now, so we
Right.
are about 5 minutes away from the end of this, and although we do have, if there's any other further points that you want to make, but have a
Um.
look at. Go on.
Yeah. No, no. I'm just watching it now.
I'm sorry if we've gone quiet, guys. I'm actually watching this in quite some amazement as to just how beautiful the Earth is as well. Just how absolutely beautiful and stunning the Earth is from the International Space Station, and just the colours, and just you see the different weather patterns and the different clouds and that sort of thing. It's Yeah, it's quite breathtaking, to be honest. Even without the UFO, it's quite a breathtaking piece of footage.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just sort of see, there's I believe that is a camera pointing down towards the planet in the top right-hand corner. That is doing the same sort of thing to the cloud cover. That is morphing it as it comes out of the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it is just incredible. I mean, what an image. If, yeah, I don't know. I gotta be honest. I know that the shape of it is blowing my mind because I've seen that object. I've seen that shape. So that's kind of like, adding to the strength of it for me.
Yeah.
Is because that is the shape I saw. That is the shape I saw.
And would this be very similar to the shape you saw outside your window as well that you filmed earlier this year?
Yeah, well, I said when I looked through Emma's glasses, and she got anti-glare glasses. They're just specially designed, and it was a triangle in the sky, and it was at such an angle that it just looked like a triangle. And so, I mean, I don't know. This is amazing. I mean, there's part of me hopes it doesn't come up to be fake, to be honest with you. But if you've got to think, if it's not fake, then wasting.
How big would you say it was?
How big? I would say that is probably about two large sort of jumbo jets, sort of Boeing 747 sizes, like two of them, maybe even three. But that's the sort of size I would estimate. I mean, they said it was sort of like the size of a bus, but not that. That looks a lot bigger than that to me. And going off relevance to the thing I saw, which I saw. It's not. It was an airplane, and I mistaken it for something else. I saw this object, and that was probably about the same size.
As you can see, it's kind of escalating now, and NASA are actually, they can see how the camera's being adjusted as well. So,
I'm definitely tracking this thing. That's what it looks like. You're definitely sort of like keeping it in position of the camera.
Okay.
And it's just. Are we coming to the end? Are we coming to the end of it now?
We are coming to the end of this now. Christy says, it could be a UFO, but I also think governments are building things they don't want us to know about. Absolutely. That's another thing it could possibly be. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I realise that because we started a bit earlier, we haven't got as many people on the chat this time round as we would have. But if you guys do see this video, please give it a share and a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you are new, it's nice to see you. And if it's if any of you guys who have been following our channel for some time want to leave a comment and let us know your thoughts, we'd love to know what you think, because this is interesting. This is a new one, and to be honest, fake or not, I'm watching in amazement. I am. Fake or not, I'm watching in amazement. I am at this particular point. It is.
But it was just the camera sort of, the camera view sort of jerked up then.
Yeah.
To sort of keeping its range. I mean, I don't know. That's the problem with things today, with technology and stuff, and the way we can edit and and special effects and all the sort of software that's out there now. But I mean, it's incredible. I mean, if this is real, this is world changing.
Yeah. All right, and guys. Well, thank you very much for watching the stream with us. And any final words, Richard?
Yeah, do some research yourself, guys. I mean, we would like answers on this, and we would like to know your thoughts. And yeah, just keep watching and keep sharing and you know, if you like what we do and you like the way we talk about it, put it out there, and we'll just keep reporting on things like this, and hopefully the truth will come out.
Alright, well, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you soon for another video.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Cheers, Para Peeps.
Cheers, Para Peeps.